Hey, so today we're going to be doing the box Soulmate. You can see that I've already done the scans. We did a regular scan, got port 22 and 80, and then we did the default scripts on those two ports as well. Nothing too useful here. NGI next. It's on Ubuntu, so we're dealing with Linux. Here are some things we can try. So for port 22, obviously we don't have any creds. Port 80, just don't keep it simple. Just go to the website, click around, see what you can do. View the page source by right-clicking in your browser on the page and just view source. We can check for hidden subdomains and then check for hidden directories on both any found subdomains and the root domain as well. And then if it gives us the option to register accounts, we will do that. So let's just start by going to the website, right? Keep it simple. Oh, also, I have added this to my Etsy host already, which you'll want to do to use the Soulmate Hack the Box name, right? So the Etsy host, you can see it, and getting ahead of ourselves here, but this is what you would see. This is what you would add first, and I'll show you how we find this. I'll just leave that there. No, actually, I'll close it. And so because that's in there, I can just go ahead and just do that, right? And you just, before I start clicking around, I'll just view the source. See if there's any comments left in here. Any version numbers. I might have skipped it already, but pretty sure there's a version number in here. I've already done this box. Obviously, it's been a while. If I actually read, okay, maybe not. I don't see anything. So we will continue. We've got to log in. We'll just go ahead and create an account. We can do maybe some injection here. We'll get back to that. So we'll add that. Test. File upload. File picture. Upload. Let's just log in. You can see we're on login.php, right? And it switches us over to profile.php. Browse. We can test for file upload vulnerabilities. It'll have to be in one of these formats. View the source of this as well. I don't see anything. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and start our subdomain and directory on the original domain here, but I like to look for domains first, right? Because then you can look for directories on those found subdomains and the original domain. Let's do a little dir search. And I lied. We're doing we're doing the directory first, but it doesn't matter. You can do it in whatever order. And I like to use GoBuster for subdomains. We'll go with that word list, threads 50, and appending the domain. And look at that, instantly we found a FTPs, right? So we'll track this command. You know what, to make it cleaner, we'll just do this. And don't forget to do your dir search on that as well. We're just going to stop it right there. While that's running, we'll just go to our... Okay, I'm going to stop that. Let's go to that other website or subdomain. That CrushFTP. Normally you would check all of these, but I don't think that's what this is. This is something else is happening here. So, but you would check any 200s you found. But when it goes crazy like that, just stop it because something's up, right? Yeah, nothing found. That was right. Visit. So what we can do, we just run it back, right? So all the steps we've done here, we're just running them back on every single thing you find. So view the source per usual, right? So we got a version equals, and then there's a date, but we want the version, right? For the web interface register. So FTP, found a version number, right? What else can we do? We can also just log in, register our account, right? Just do forgot password. Let's do this default. Crush admin. Obviously, we're not gonna actually receive an email, but worth a shot. Unknown host. Okay. Well, but we did find a version number, so let's just go with that. You already know we're going with get. Authentication bypass. By spoofing headers. Wait, let me go back to that real quick. We could try it. Oh look, 31161. Just type that in. 2025 31161. So I think we could use either one. It'll create a new user account. So we got a bypass, and then we have this one that actually creates a new user. Let's go with that one. Look, it even tells you the default is set to crush admin. Check your code. Make sure it's not doing anything wonky before you run stuff like this, right? So yeah, we'll just grab that. So we'll see what it requires first, right? So target host, target port, target user, which we know is crush admin, and then your new credentials. And as you saw just a moment ago, I already have this. So target host is that subdomain on 80, obviously crush admin, and then we're going to make it Tehuti. 2825. Create new admin. Okay. So let's just run this, see what we get. Payload, setting account, create request, and yeah, we got a new admin user. So let's just grab that command. Okay. Let's log in. So it looks like we land in a files, right? I mean, it's FTP, right? So it's supposed to be hosting files. Let's go admin, metrics, dashboard. Status stuff, but no command line, right? Reports. About. Let's go to user manager. So you can see this application is quite a bit. I generally already know where to go. So I'll spare you guys, but you would have to look through all of those functions, all of those features in this web application and enumerate, right? But I know this is we got another version number here, 11.3. So Tehuti, that's the admin we created. Server files, user stuff. So we don't have anything right now. So we're going to give ourselves everything. And we're going to give us the permissions. All the permissions. And we just save. Okay. So let's go back to files. And now you can see we have all this, right? So something I like to say is that when you get a reverse shell, we obviously haven't done that yet, but when you get any type of access and you land in your reverse shell or you land in your access, enumerate where you landed, right? That means don't change directories or anything like that. Just enumerate that. Because you're landing in the context of whatever reverse shell user you got or whatever service account, right? In this case, we're landing, quote unquote, landing as you could think of this as landing in the terminal as Tehuti, but this is a web application, right? So is there something in the web application that's being hosted that we have not seen before, right? So let's go to app, right? Application. This is the application, right? CrushFTP web prod. This is where stuff is being hosted. Because you can see, right, we had register, login, all that stuff. So what if we host our own file, we execute it, we get a reverse shell. So we're gonna do like an add file, right? And so let's grab a reverse shell first. So let's go with this one. Okay, I know in this one it says right here, change this, right? You got to tell it what IP you want it to reach back to. And my IP is 10.10.16.17. And I like to stick to 444 quad 4. So we will upload that. Upload. Now remember, these files are not being hosted on ftp.soulmate.htb. They're being hosted on soulmate.htb, right? Because remember, it was a login.php, right? So if I go login.php, right, there it is, right? So that's what's being hosted there. So this should technically have been uploaded. Okay, it won't let me copy that. Here, right? So PHP reverse shell. Now before I click on that and send any request to it, we got to start our listener, right? So and we'll bring this here, and when we send a request to it, that in a way executes, right? Hopefully. It's definitely there. Right, I didn't misspeak here, did I? Yeah, select a resource not found. So four not found. Even though I see it right. Oh, it disappeared. Okay. Let's try that again. Just do that. Okay, so there it is. File already added. Oh, maybe what's happening here is I think something's wrong with the box. Oh, okay. Don't know what that was about, but yeah, you guys know sometimes this stuff is it's a little wonky, right? So which script? So we have script. I have a command for that. I probably should have that memorized by now, but I don't. Right, so we got TDY now. Okay, so we're in as www data, which is what we expected. So we can do some light enumeration. Well, enumeration, right? There's the container, CrushFTP application. Let's see, password. Found this Laurel. That's not a, that's a service though. So no other, oh well, we got Ben, right? Which we already knew that because we saw it in the application. But let's pause here actually before we go any further and just gather our notes and our thoughts, right? We're able to did I spell that wrong? Permissions to all files and sufficient permissions within the web application. Okay. Uploaded reverse shell into home app dev, right? So this. Oh, oh my god. Okay. Enumeration. Okay. So let's just do which sudo or sudo tech version 1.99. I don't think that's vulnerable to anything. We did ls opt already. Where are we? We're in root. We want to check open ports. So and up all these locally hosted ports, right? '80. So we're looking for anything that's hosted locally that we don't have access to when we did our external scan, right? 22 and 80 were the only things open externally. So now we want to check all of this stuff, right? So we got 8080, right? I mean, there's quite a few ports here that are open only locally. These are services or things that are running that we didn't see from the outside, right? So we're at 8080, 44829. 4369 2222. That's interesting as well. Another type of web service or something. 9090 53. Three, 6, 1, 3, 6. Three, 7, 1, 5, 8. And this is what it takes. This, you know, this is, it's tedious, but this is what it takes because you don't want to miss anything. And I'll show you what I like to do with this list of ports to make life easier. 4369 again, which we already have it. 4369 running IPv6. So this is what we'll do. I'll just take this list. Ignore my chat history. Erlang. So, I mean, oh yeah, so it thinks Erlang is high, right? So that's what I was thinking too. Okay. So we got something going on with Erlang, but let's continue our enumeration, right? So PSAUX. And you can see how this is cut off here. Like I can't see full paths or anything like that. So to fix that, you would just do www, and that should, yes. So that gives us full, look at this long, oh look, Erlang. And so what you're looking for, you're not looking for all of this stuff in the square brackets because that's like service stuff. But from here down, you're looking at anything that's running via user, right? So that's running in the context of Lorel, which I do not believe is a user, right? So if we do, yeah, we only have Ben in here, so container IPs minus root. So this script, so we have some scripts here. In the context of root, you can see that they're being told to run as root, right? So we got 3 of them, or maybe, we'll see. Not a binary. Then we got a version number for this binary too. So let's just cat that out. Let's start with this one. See what it's doing. This Ben House Holdings. So we found credentials that aren't for the web application, right? So these aren't just for logging into the web application. This is, and we saw there was a user in here, Ben, right? So what if we SSH as Ben, move laterally to Ben? I mean, that's a possibility, right? Now, we also had that port 222 running, right? And we found Erlang. So let's do this. I guess I should have just deduced that, is that, yeah, it could be configured to use 222. I mean, like, if it's not, then what else is, right? So I'm gonna take a little leap of faith here. I'm pretty sure, if I remember properly, this is the way in. Now we have Ben, so we can SSH over to Ben, or we do, I think, switch user, right? Crap, I don't want to lose my shell. Okay, so switch user Ben, and we'll take his password here. Okay, so that lands us in as Ben. But I want to show you something else. So from our reverse shell, since we have Ben's credentials, we know Erlang is going on. I think Erlang is using 2222. So what if we do yeah. We're in Erlang shell. Help. That. Okay, I have no idea how to use Erlang shell. So the old chat GPT gonna inside of a Beam VM. So you have to, so there's gonna be like a OS, yeah, OS command who am I? So we'll just end with a period at the end here. And let's see what that does. What that gives us. That is not what I copied. Well. So you already know what's next. Cat. There it is. There's your root.txt. Okay. So is that how you exit? No, that's not how you exit. How do I exit the shell, right? Quit, okay. Does that make sense? Oh, I didn't see it right here. Oh, no. That's the thing with Erlang is that if you mess it up, I have no idea how to get out of this now. So, but it's fine. So what we did was we went from www data and we entered the Erlang shell as Ben because we had Ben's credentials, right? Now we could have also just laterally moved, which is what I'll show you now. We could have just did, you know, the old, actually let me get into my Kali here. The old Ben, is that the IP? 218, yeah, okay. Grab his password. Okay, so now we're in a shell as Ben, right? So we could also did the same thing. So type P222. And boom, same thing. Control G to abort. So that's how you, or not. Okay. Yeah, okay, I guess that doesn't work. There it is. Okay. So we could have went from www data straight into Ben. I mean, you're essentially doing the same thing without the SSH step, right? So you're going from www data, you're switching into Ben into the Erlang shell, or you could have just left your www data reverse shell up and then just SSH as Ben and then did the same thing with the this SSH, right? Port 2022, right? So that's why enumeration is important because you get all these like little clues and you start to connect the dots, right? So hopefully that made sense. So yeah, I'll just briefly summarize everything we did here. Let me grab notes. Finish up our notes here. Erlang is being hosted as port 22. And then we did and so you can essentially run any command in here. So if you wanted something better than Erlang, I guess you could have ran another reverse shell, right? And got a more stable situation going on. So summary. Actually, one. We'll just scroll back up here. Found subdomain ftp soulmate.htb. CVE a new admin user. We'll just call admin. Uploaded reverse shell and landed as www data. God, I'm so OCD. Enumerated and found Erlang shell running or configured to port 2222. Found script with hard-coded ban credentials inside. Spawn Erlang shell as ban, which is root. Okay. And that is the summary of the attack path that we just did. Hopefully you guys like that one. Until next week. See ya.